Alright, today I'm going to do a really reluctant repair, or at least I hope it's a repair. I've got a feeling this isn't going to work out. Let me tell you what's going on behind me. Hold on, which way do I go? That way. That thing there, that's a Sony CMT-C5. It's a little microsystem, CD player, MiniDisc, radio, AM/FM I think. Nice little device. They come pretty cheap now. You get them for sort of 160, 170 pounds, a lot cheaper than they would have been originally. They come with some nice speakers, which I don't think, oh yeah, there's one just right in that corner there. And they've got a weird connector on the speakers. So it's a whole unit, it all comes together. Nice little remote control as well. On top of here, I've got the thing that I want to talk about though. I put a mini disc in there a while ago and it's still in there, can't get it out. So I've either got to play my Earth, Wind and Fire compilation forever, or I've got to repair the MiniDisc slot loading mechanism. Now, you might remember I did a video about this problem a few years ago, and I said your MiniDisc player will fail because they all have a little rubber belt on the loading mechanism that stretches, goes slack, stops the mechanism from working, and needs replacing. Now, I replaced up my main MiniDisc deck, the one for the HiFi, but this thing, it's going to be really buried down at the bottom. So I've got the belt, that's not the problem. Those things are easy enough to get hold of. It's getting to it that's the issue, because these things are so small, everything's sandwiched together. The mini disc mechanism's a unit on the bottom with the CD player and all the rest of it on the top. And I've tried taking these microsystem things to pieces before in the past and have failed. They're just so tightly packed. They're put together in a way that they don't really want you to take them apart. They've got that very thin ribbon cable stuff attaching all the components that can tear very easily. It's like tissue paper. I mean, the whole thing is just fraught with disaster. The reason I've got this unit is because it does the high-speed copying from CD to MiniDisc. It's a CD text CD player, so it can read the text, put the text on the MiniDisc. So I want it to work. Let's see if I can get it to work, or if this is just going to be a horrible experience. I think I know which one I'm expecting. Let's get on with it. Yeah, so as you can see, it's got a bit of a dint on here and the back doesn't quite fit to the front. It came like this when I bought it a few years ago. Might have happened in transit, that, I'm not too sure. But it was working up until recently when this mini disc got stuck inside. So some people suggest pressing the eject button while it's upside down will help your mini disc to come out. So let's try that. I doubt it's going to work, but we'll give it a go. Yeah, not doing an awful lot. I can hear it whirring inside. That's about the limit of it. Okay, so what we need to do now, take out all the screws that have an arrow pointing at them. What's that, 8 on the bottom? A couple on the back here as well, I think, yeah. Right, so that is all the screws out as far as I can tell. Now I think we're going to be lifting the lid off from the top. I can't imagine it's the bottom that comes off this, so oh dear, yeah, this thing's going to fight me into. Hold on. Oh, yeah, gave me false hope. I'm thinking I'm getting very close to that mini disc, but we've just took the base off and it's not giving me access to that. It's just letting me pry this part open. Now I've got to just work my way down through this, try and get to the bottom. Easier said than done. I think what I want to do next is take the front off. Now I do have a service manual, but it's the usual thing. It just shows the thing coming apart completely. It doesn't tell you really which order you're supposed to take the things out, so it's down to you to figure that out. Oh, a couple more screws on the bottom here. Right, so the front should fall off now. Insert links to that YouTube video. And, hold on, what's going on here? Right, okay, well this is our first interaction with one of these things. It has given me a bit of slack, I've noticed that, look at this. If we get under here, they've folded it over. You can see that, if I can get the tape off. It's almost as though they're expecting me to want to take that off and bring it around. Our front panel should now remove, albeit keeping that ribbon cable intact. And I can see our MiniDisc player here. I can see my Earth, Wind and Fire in it as well. I'm just wondering what would happen if I was to take the screws out in this part here. Would that enable me to do anything? Let's find out. Right, now there's a grounding cable there I'd have to remember, but let's just see if this, does this pull out? Nah, of course it doesn't. Now, as reluctant as I am to take these things out, I think it's probably for the best if I just remove this one. There we go. Right, just gets that out of the way. Okay, now looking at this, I can see there's a screw there with an arrow. I'm guessing that's for that circuit board though. Same on this side. And that is about it. So I'm not too sure what you have to take out to get this CD to move. Maybe it's down at the bottom here. Maybe it all just comes out as one big unit. Let's just take these out and see if this top bit is loose once I've done that. Right, and with this I've taken out every screw that is visible, apart from one on the circuit board back here. What does this do? Oh, look. Oh. Now, we've got to be careful we're not pulling on any wires here, aren't we? Right, now, this is perilously close to this circuit board. I think that has to come out. Right. Whew. Yeah. Oh. Okay. All right. There are a couple of metal bits here that move. And down at the bottom there's a screw that I can nearly get to, but I can't quite get to. This thing doesn't seem to be doing an awful lot other than just getting in the way. Oh, hold on. It's taped on at this side with a cable. Oh, that's not good. Yeah, they didn't want you taking this thing apart, did they? There we go. Yeah, it was taped on, that was the problem. Right, well, I've got that out. Whether it'll ever go in again, I don't know. So, this whole thing's surrounded by this metal shield, and it's preventing me from getting to the screws that hold in the MiniDisc in place. You see that screw on the left there? Another one on the right. A total of 4 of those. Now, one thing I've heard people say in the past is that you can replace the MiniDisc belt from the front. Can you see it? I think so. Yeah, there you go. So that's the loose belt. So I suppose if I do get this MiniDisc out of here, we can just replace that from the front. Right, I have got the MiniDisc out. There we go. Right, I think what I'm going to do is tape this torch to the front and then see if I can get into that with a pair of tweezers. Right, okay, let's give this a go. So, I can certainly get the old one out anyway. Oh, hold on. It's got wrapped around. There we go. Right, that's that one out. Here's my new one. It's the right size. It's on there. It's as easy as that. Oh no, I've taken all this thing apart unnecessarily. Oh dear. Okay, well, let's try and get this back together again. I think the first thing we need to do is put that shield back on there. Just need to reverse what I've done. And now we just need to hinge this up on top. Okay, that seems to be in place. I think it'll be easier if I do this on its side. So we'll just plug that into here carefully. Okay, so I'll just reattach this ground lead. But before I put the rest of the case back together again, I think we'll see if this thing's working. Okay, so that's been reassembled enough to test it. So I'm just plugging it in now and we'll switch it on. Right, so here we go. Popping it in. Yes. Right, so it's playing that now. Let's eject it. Oh yeah, cool. Yeah, working just fine that. All right, let's try a CD. Oops, hold on, I tapped that by mistake, but we'll pop this in. Should be getting CD text showing on here, I think. I'm not too sure. Yeah, Track Tribe. Right. Flipping heck, it's working. Okay, well now I've got the front back on. I'm just intrigued to know if I could have replaced the belt without even opening the case up. So let's just have a look. I don't think it's going to be possible. It looks like this is a little bit too recessed now with the front on here, but we'll find out. So let's open the door first of all. Of course, the first task is to get the MiniDisc out of the way, otherwise you can't do any of these things. And I don't think I could get the angle on that. I mean, perhaps it's possible. You could try it, but I think you'd be fiddling around for a long time. The easiest way of doing this, get the case off the top, which is just a few screws, take the 2 screws out of the side and the bottom of this, drop this down, gives you access to the MiniDisc mechanism without this thing being in the way. It's easy to swap that belt on there. I did it first time in a few seconds and then just put it back together again. So we're not unplugging any wires really, unless you want to. It's just a matter of taking a few screws out and then putting them back in again at the end. So you're not really messing around with any of the electronics. So I think that's the way to go. Now, of course, this is just one device, but there are plenty that are like this. They tend to have the MiniDisc down the bottom, the CD at the top, and to work your way down through all this to get to that MiniDisc to disassemble it, well, the chance of me breaking this was extremely high, which is why I was reluctant to even have a go at this one. But as it is, you don't have to do all of that. It's a lot easier than I thought it would be. Oh, and you might remember how earlier on the case wasn't fitting quite right, and I can see now that it's definitely had a bit of a knock. See on this side we've got this plastic tab. Well, that's all been broken off on this side. And in addition there's another tab down there. All these things hold that metal bit out. Well, that one's gone off this side as well. So yeah, it's took a bit of a knock, this thing. It's quite lucky it's still working, I suppose. I can't see any bits of plastic inside here. Nothing's falling out though, so that makes me think that somebody must have been in here after it had had a bash, because there's nothing rattling around and those bits should be down inside there somewhere. Maybe that's why there's no screw on this side. I'll see if I've got something that'll fit in there then. Okay, so I just want to check out this high-speed copying to MiniDisc. So I've got a new one here, and I've also got a CD to copy to it, with this one being from Sony Music. Even though it doesn't mention it anywhere on the box or the discs themselves, there's a good chance that this one is going to contain CD text. Let's see. It'll take a couple of seconds to read that in. Whilst it's doing that, I'll just mention, if you do happen to get hold of one of these, make sure you get the remote with it, because without that you can't access a large number of the features. But you can see here we've got the CD text showing on the screen. You can always check if it's got it on here by just pressing menu and OK, and there you go. So let's put this blank MiniDisc in here. I suppose I've just opened a collector's item, because from what I understand, Sony are no longer manufacturing blank MiniDiscs, which is not entirely a surprise. Okay, so let's just pop this in here. I was going to put it in the CD one. Right, so that's worked out fine. Hopefully, when I go onto this button here, it's just going to copy it across. Let's just see, high speed. And I don't know if I have to press anything else or if it's just a one button job. No, that's it. It's on record pause. It's getting the MiniDisc there. Right. Is the CD playing? I don't know if I have to do anything at this point. I haven't done this before. I'd imagine perhaps you'd take the pause off the CD. So let's do that. Yep. And there we go. You can see that's counting up quicker than real time. Okay, well, looking at this, it's only copying the CD across at 2 times speed, which means a disc like this will perhaps take 35 minutes to copy across to a MiniDisc. There are some MiniDisc copiers that do it at 4x. On the devices that do a higher speed, you'd normally press the high speed button a couple of times to cycle between a couple of different modes. Maybe this is it. I'm going to download the instruction manual and have a look. Okay, well, there's still a support page for this product on the Sony website, and from there you can download manuals, and I've done just that and had a look through, and apparently it only refers to copying from a CD to a mini disc in either normal or high speed. Doesn't refer to variations on the high speed mode, so it looks like there's only the one speed, which is 2 times, and therefore you just need to have a little bit of patience. And that's it. In the blink of an eye, we've copied a CD to a mini disc. Everyone wanted it in so much of a rush back then. Right, okay, so let's get the CD out. And we'll just get the mini disc out. By ejecting it, it finalises the table of contents. So I say finalise, of course you can amend it later as well, but we'll just pop that in there. So it should come up with the text that's on this disc now as well if I get it into the mini disc mode. This is a problem with this device. You'd think you press that, but that's the eject. You have to cycle through the functions like this to get to the mini disc, or you just press the appropriate button on the remote control. So now we're in the mini disc. If we press play, it should show us the information. There we go.
Are you trying to get crazy with this?
And if we just skip forward, yep, that's all working just fine. Okay, so it's all fine. I need to repair that lid a little bit, but I just wanted to mention that this CD at times seems a little bit reluctant to eject. I mean, it's easier than this one because it does protrude and you can pull the disc out. So I thought, I wonder if I could replace that belt while I've got it open. Well, I had a look in the service manual and it doesn't seem like this CD belt replacement is going to be much fun, unless it's another one of these ones that looks more complicated than it is. But it seems like you've got to get the CD mechanism out, then you've got to flip it over. This is upside down now, I think. And then you've got to take this front assembly off, which is that bit, to enable you to get the belt round here. It's annoying because it's just here. So I can see that end, so I could easily feed a belt in there and hook it over this, except that wheel there comes up to this edge. It's like skewered through from this side and it's attached at the other, so there's no way, as far as I could tell, to get the belt over that top wheel, even though you could get it into this bit here. If they just left you a bit of gap down the side here, you could have got it in there. Now, before I spin it around, I just want to mention this back panel, because for a small device like this, it's got some pretty good connectivity. You'll notice at the top left here, we've got the tape output and input. That's something you don't see on many devices nowadays, but even devices of this era, it wasn't entirely common. So with this, you could send your cassettes into here, record them onto MiniDisc if you wanted to, or take the radio, the CD, the MiniDisc and record that off onto your cassettes. Below there we've got the FM and AM antenna inputs, headphone output, digital optical input up here. Now, since this thing's already got a CD and a mini disc on it, you wonder what you're going to be plugging into there. Well, perhaps a DAT machine, but I think more likely maybe another CD player that you just wanted to copy to this mini disc recorder, or perhaps you've got a portable mini disc player and you take the TOS link out of there, put it into here to duplicate your mini disc. And then we've got the PC link to connect up to a computer for titling purposes for those mini discs and other features as well. I'll go into that someday in the future perhaps. And then speaker connectors. You'll notice there, those are both DIN plugs. And also below there, it states that it's only for certain speakers. Of course, the speakers that came with it are one of those sets, but you'll notice here, I now have 2 DIN plugs. I've got to figure out which one's right and left and plug them in the appropriate sockets. But yeah, you need the right speakers for this system, and if it comes without the speakers, well, I wouldn't recommend getting one. I probably wouldn't recommend getting one of these anyway. I'll mention more on that later. But yeah, as well as the speakers, of course, as mentioned before, you also need the remote control to be able to access all the features. But talking of speakers, let's spin this around. I just wanted to show you one more feature. Okay, so I'll just pop a CD in here, and I just want to show you on the speakers. They've got an interesting profile. It looks like a little bit of a vent on the back, but I don't think it's doing anything other than design. But you can see on the side they've called it an advanced cyber style speaker system. Looks a little bit like a Cylon's helmet, that, doesn't it? Anyway, let's take the cover off so that you can have a look at it at the same time as I'm playing the audio into the camera, and you'll be able to notice perhaps that there's a little bit of something going on here. So let's turn the lights down as well. So this is definitely a product of its time, with its blue LEDs everywhere and its cyber speakers. It screams 2001, which of course is when it's from, and that means that at the time I recorded this, it's perhaps 24 years old. And it's showing it in places, but it's also showing it in other places in a positive way, in the fact that it's a decent quality little device. It doesn't cost too much to buy one of these nowadays. You got good quality sound out of it. You got a load of features on here. If you can get everything complete, you'd think it'd be something that would definitely be worth looking at. However, it's not really one that I can recommend, and I'll explain why. Yeah, now it is going to go back on the shelf. I'm not getting rid of it. It's just the reason I wouldn't recommend it to other people is the fact that that CD belt is going to fail at some time, and it's going to do it quite soon, I feel, on mine. I'd imagine this time next year I probably can't get a CD in and out of this thing, and at that point it's a complete disassembly of that CD drive as far as I can tell. I spent quite a bit of time looking at it, moving those gears around just to see if you could slide a belt up the side, but it looks like no, I have to disassemble the CD mechanism, unless of course anyone knows different. But at the moment that looks like the kind of job that I would struggle with and might well end up damaging the device. And if I'm feeling like that, it's not something I could recommend that other people seek out either, because whilst you might be able to swap that MiniDisc belt very easily, a lot easier than I thought. You saw I went into this with this trepidation, and as it wasn't a big deal once I realised the little knack to getting it through the front. Of course, you've got to take the front off to get there, but still, it was a very easy job once I figured out what I had to do. So I'll remember that for next time, but I'm also remembering that this thing is on borrowed time. And also bear in mind that any of these slot loading CD mechanisms in microsystems from Sony likely to use a very similar mechanism to the one in this, which looks like it does need a full disassembly to be able to get that working. And this thing's 24 years old. They're all going to give out pretty soon, and you're going to have to replace those belts, and I don't like the look of that at all. So bear that in mind. But that's enough jibber jabber. That's it for the moment. As always, thanks for watching.